Hi there, today we're installing the rear wheel on our Ducati 959. So what I'm doing is hitting all the seals with Lubramatic marine grease. That is Lubramatic marine grease. You can get it at any boating store, Amazon.
I'm going to ride it, and if I like it.
You want to use marine grease. Marine grease will keep the inside of your wheel protected. It'll keep the moisture and water away from inside the wheel. It repels it a lot better than regular high performance grease. Remember, we're not trying to lubricate anything. We are trying to protect the bike from moisture getting into the wheel and allowing that the grease will allow that axle shaft to slide out of the bike next time we remove this wheel. So yeah, the grease is not for lubrication because you have sealed bearings inside your wheel. The bearings turn on the axle doesn't turn. So just put a light coat of grease on the axle. It will help the axle to slide out a little bit easier. We can already see where getting on the throttle has put some wear on the axle from the bearings riding on it. This Ducati 959 is very easy to work on. Ducati did a good job of putting the bike together so you can pull it apart and put it back together very quickly. The wheel came off the frame nicely. I didn't have to remove the rear caliper to get the rear wheel out of the bike. It's a little bit more difficult lining up the brake rotor with the caliper, but you see it fits pretty good. There's a close-up of it, and then once we get our wheel into place, we put our chain and sprocket, the chain over the sprocket. Then we just need to line everything up, and we need to run our axle through. Do not do this with a hammer. If you're doing this job with the hammer, you need to stop and rethink it. You should not be beating on a Ducati with a hammer. So this is your spacer for your chain adjustment. So we're just going to wipe off any grease and residue that might be in there. Slide it into the frame. Next comes a small little washer. So that'll fit inside the spacer. And then we have our nut to tighten down on the axle to hold the wheel into place. So pretty straightforward how to get this back wheel back together. With your wheel off and putting it back on, go ahead and check your chain slack. This is a little bit loose, so I'm just going to give it maybe one turn out. It wasn't didn't take a lot. I don't even think I went one turn. But remember, whatever adjustment you make on the left side when adjusting the chain, you need to make that same adjustment over on the right side. Otherwise, your bike will be out of alignment. This was one aspect where I like a single-sided swing arm better. It's easier to adjust your chain with the single-sided swing arm than it is with the two-sided. So that looks pretty good. And then to finish up the job, we need to put our torque wrench on this nut. And I will tell you that the torque specs that this nut calls for is not what is on your bike when you go to take it off. I'm not sure what Ducati did to put this nut on, but it was insane. I guarantee it took me 300 foot-pounds to remove that nut. I lifted the bike off of this swing arm stand. You can see that in another video. And then before you finish up, make sure that you press the brake lever, spin the wheel, make sure it turns freely. Thanks for watching.